The kings and queens of the United Kingdom have built up quite the collection of jewels and treasures over the centuries. The crown jewels of the United Kingdom, to give them their full and proper title, now consist of more than 140 objects, from crowns and swords to altar plates and robes. There are 23,578 precious stones in the collection, including the Cullinan one, the largest clear-cut diamond in the world at 530 carats. The oldest item is the coronation spoon, used to anoint the monarch as supreme governor of the Church of England, which dates back to the 12th century. The most recent addition to the collection were a set of 22-carat gold armills, special bracelets, which were presented to Queen Elizabeth II for her coronation in 1953. Putting a price on the jewels is difficult, as there is next to no chance of them ever being sold, but they have been estimated to be worth more than £3 billion. They are also not insured, because of their priceless nature. The Cullinan 1 diamond alone is estimated to be worth at least £400 million, and we know the cost of creating some of the items, like the jeweled sword of offering and the Imperial crown of India. Luckily the collection is kept locked away in the jewel house at the Tower of London, because if you have to keep a collection of priceless treasures anywhere, a nigh-impregnable fortress manned by a bunch of soldiers is probably the best place for them. Even so, during the Second World War the jewels were taken away and hidden in a biscuit-tin at Windsor Castle. Here's everything you need to know about the key objects in the Royal Jewels collection. 1. St. Edward's Crown. The most important of all the crown jewels, the St. Edward's Crown is solid gold and weighs 2040 g. It is decorated with 444 precious and semi-precious stones. It was made in 1661 for the coronation of Charles II, after the previous medieval crown was melted down by parliamentarians in 1649 during the Civil War. The crown is used for the formal coronation of monarchs, and was worn briefly by the Queen when she was crowned in 1953. She has not worn it since, as the imperial state crown is used for formal royal duties when the monarch wears a crown. This is the crown which also appears on the Queen's coat of arms, and is a symbol for her role as Queen of the United Kingdom, and 15 other nations around the world. 2. The Imperial State Crown. The Imperial State Crown is the one which the monarch exchanges for St. Edward's Crown at the end of their coronation. The crown was made for the coronation of King George VI in 1937, but is based on one that was designed for Queen Victoria in 1838. It is much lighter than the St. Edward's Crown, weighing in at 1060 g, and contains 2,868 diamonds, 17 sapphires, 11 emeralds and 269 pearls. At the center of the crown is the Cullinan II diamond, one of the largest in the world, while at the back is the Stuart sapphire. The front cross contains the Black Prince's ruby. The gem, which is actually a large spinel, is said to be one of the stones worn by Henry V on his helmet at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415. This is also the crown that the Queen wears during the state opening of Parliament, where she reads the Queen's speech and which marks the start of the parliamentary year, and the Queen has revealed that wearing the uncomfortable crown makes carrying out her official duties a little tricky. She said, "You can't look down to read the speech, you have to take the speech up, because if you did, your neck would break and it would fall off." There are some disadvantages to crowns, but otherwise they are quite important things. 3. Sovereign's Orb. The Sovereign's Orb is a hollow gold sphere with a cross mounted on top. It is used in the coronation, and symbolizes the Christian world and the monarch's role as head of the Church of England. The bands of jewels split the orb into 3 sections, representing the 3 continents known in medieval times, while the cross represents God. The orb was made for the coronation of Charles II in 1661, and weighs 1320 g, twice as heavy as the one it replaced, which was lost during the Civil War. Charles II spent £1,150 on the orb in 1661, around £150,000 today. 4. Sovereign's Sceptre with Cross. The sceptre with cross is one of the items presented to the monarch during their coronation. The sceptre, which weighs 1170 g, represents the sovereign's temporal or worldly power, compared to the sceptre with dove, which represents their spiritual power. The original sceptre dates to 1661, but it has been modified a number of times since. The most dramatic alteration came in 1910, when the head of the rod was changed to include the Cullinan Diamond, the largest colorless cut diamond in the world, also known as the Star of Africa. The giant gem weighs in at 530.2 carats, 106 g, and is estimated to be worth at least £400 million. The original uncut Cullinan stone, which weighed 3,025 carats, was acquired by Edward VII in 1907, and was cut into 9 major stones along with 96 minor stones. The Cullinan 1 and 2 stones remain in the crown jewels, while the other 7 major stones are owned privately by the Queen. 5. Sovereign's sceptre with dove. The sceptre with dove represents the sovereign's spiritual role, with the dove representing the Holy Spirit, compared to the sceptre with cross which represents temporal power. The sceptre is also known as the rod of equity and mercy and is a plain gold rod with an enamel dove. It also features diamonds, emeralds, rubies and sapphires, and weighs 1150 g. Like many of the other crown jewels, it dates to the coronation of Charles II in 1661. 6. The Sword of Offering. The jeweled Sword of Offering dates back to 1820 and the reign of King George IV. It cost £5,988, £500,000 in today's money, and was paid for out of the king's privy purse. It is covered in 3,476 precious stones and the Damascus steel blade is decorated with the national flowers of England, Scotland and Ireland, roses, thistles and shamrocks. The Sword of Offering is one of the symbolic items given to the monarch during their coronation. When presented with the blade by the archbishop, the monarch is told to use it to do justice, stop the growth of iniquity, protect the holy church of God, help and defend widows and orphans, restore the things that are gone to decay, maintain the things that are restored, punish and reform what is amiss, and confirm what is in good order. It is one of 6 swords in the crown jewels collection. 7. The Imperial Crown of India. The law dictates that the crown jewels cannot be taken out of the country, so a new crown was created for George V's trip to India in 1911, where he was coronated Emperor of India. The crown was made by Garrett and Company at a cost of £60,000, which works out at £5 million today. The crown weighs 920 g and is set with 6,170 diamonds, 9 emeralds, 4 sapphires and 4 rubies. After the coronation, the king complained about its weight, writing, "Rather tired after wearing my crown for 3.5 hours. It hurt my head, as it is pretty heavy." 8. Queen Elizabeth. The Queen Mother's coronation crown. This crown was made in 1937 for Queen Elizabeth, the wife and consort of George VI, for his coronation as king in 1937. After King George's death she would be known as the Queen Mother, and she wore the crown again for the coronation of her daughter Queen Elizabeth II in 1953. It contains 2,800 diamonds, and most of the gemstones in it were already in the royal collection. Many of the diamonds were taken from Queen Victoria's regal circlet. The front cross contains the Cullinan Diamond, one of the most famous gemstones in the world, which had previously been placed in the crowns of Queen Alexandra and Queen Mary. The Queen Mother's crown is the only one in the crown jewels to be made of platinum, and weighs 510 g. The crown was placed on the Queen Mother's coffin for her funeral in 2002.